Good morning, CCH family. We are glad that you have joined us this morning on our YouTube channel. Remember last week we talked about Reach? Reach still need volunteers for the Reach Cold Weather Shelter starting next week, March 29th. If you're interested in helping out, please let us know. All of our contact information will be in the description down below this video. This morning, at the end of our service, we will be participating together in communion. If you would, you can go right now and get those things ready for yourself. It can be a cracker and some juice, a piece of bread, whatever you might have on hand. Feel free to use that this morning as we participate in communion together. This week, if you would like to give, there are a couple ways that you can do that. One, you can mail a check to our church address. It will be received in the office, and we will get those together this week. Once again, that address will be below. But you can also use our online giving portal at cchmd.com/give. There, you can set up a one-time or recurring gifts. Today, we are glad that you have joined us for worship this morning. Check back on this channel for more helpful content in the weeks to come. Good morning again. We are glad that you have joined us. I imagine that many of you are sitting in your living room this morning as you're watching this video with us. So we have joined you in our living room to help this morning as we join together in worship. Please sing with us.
Blessed be your name, found in the that song because it tells us about offering up praise to God and worshiping God when things are easy and when things are hard. When it feels like everything's going right and life is blessed, it's so easy to lift up praise to God. But when things are going difficult, the line in the song says, when there's pain in the offering, blessed be your name. We lift that up even when it's uncomfortable, even when it hurts. So as we keep going this morning and we're worshiping God together, this next song we're going to sing is called Cornerstone. And it's a song about putting our hope in the one thing that we can rest on, the one foundation that will never fail. Let's sing together. Jesus' blood and righteousness. us are feeling very weak right now. Some of us are feeling like we have very little control over our day-to-day lives. Everything, the circumstances of life are just overwhelming. But through the storm, He is Lord of all. If you need some good news this week, that's where it is. Resting on His unchanging grace, an anchor in the middle of the storm. Let's keep singing together. We're going to sing the song, How Great Is Our God. Sing with me, How Great Is Our God. Rest on that one truth. That whatever it is that life throws at us, whatever it is that we lift up to God, He's big enough for you. Sing. Rejoice.
sing these praises to your name. Father, you truly are great. You are good. You are holy. Father, even in the midst of our storm, even in the midst of our darkness and our tough days that are around us, Father, we thank you for your goodness, for your grace, and your love. And we've been able to declare this morning that you are our cornerstone. Father, you are good enough in all these things. We're able to proclaim your love and your goodness today. Father, would you be with us? Would you use us to help others see and know you? Father, you are indeed good and worthy to be praised. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. What a week. I know how many times this week I have said the phrase, I sure didn't learn about this in Bible college. I mean, there is no class to help us to teach you how to lead through a global pandemic. There is no class in Bible college that said, this is how you have church when you can't have church. And so there's sometimes in life you get to choose the change that you make. You might get to change a job, you might get to change house, change cars, change your clothes. In fact, you might be able. There's sometimes you get to choose the change, but sometimes the change is thrust upon you. This week's ultimatum has kind of been change or die. As a church, we have this opportunity. We need to change, or there's the threat that we might cease to exist. And so this week, David and I, along with the wisdom of Mark and Jeff as our elders, we've been putting a plan in place for how the Church of Christ at Hagerstown is going to exist and move over the next few weeks. And so we've been putting in place the infrastructure and the equipment and the software and the plan so that we can still continue to worship together as a family. Family is one of the strengths of this church. If it were my desire, if everything happened the way I want to, I wish we would all be in this room together this morning, where I could shake your hand or give you a hug, whatever protocol you would have with the current social distancing in place. But this time, as we are apart, it might open up a door for us to be able to share the good news with others. See, in the news this week, have you noticed all the bad news in the media this week? I mean, you see on your Facebook feed and the social media feeds, and then you turn the news on and you read the paper, it seems that page after page, line after line is nothing but bad news. And in a time like this, when bad news is all around us, it reminds us that we as the church, we have the only good news in town. We have the best news in town. And right now, it might be hard to see. Right now, you might think, Mike, how can that be? We can't meet together. You might be thinking, Mike, this is weird watching you on video in my living room as I'm sitting here. Maybe you're sitting there with your cereal. Maybe you're watching over lunch or dinner. Whenever you are viewing this, you're like, this seems weird because we can't meet together as a family. And right now, that seems odd. It seems separate, but have you ever thought, man, if I could only show a friend of mine what our church is like, what a services of ours is like, if I could just show them, maybe they might be interested in coming. And now, because of the wonders of technology, you'll have the opportunity to say, hey, this is what a church service of ours is kind of like. It's a lot easier now. It gives us a new opportunity, new ways for us to reach the people around us with the good news, with the gospel of Jesus. See, the purpose of the church isn't to have services. The purpose of the church isn't for us to gather together on a Sunday morning and sing songs and open up Scripture together. The purpose of the church is to make disciples of all nations, is to help connect people to Jesus, to help them find their way back home to God. And so if using video gives us another option, then this minor inconvenience will be worth it all. Hey, today I want to share with you one scripture. A scripture that's been running around my head most of the week. If you have your Bible there, if you have maybe your phone or an app, if you would turn to John 16:33. All week long, I've known that we are going to need to take a break from our Journey with Jesus series. There's going to have to be something different this week. And so today, I was supposed to be preaching from Luke 15. Today, I was supposed to preach about the three parables of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son. And the weeks previous, I had 4 pieces of art developed and painted by 4 different artists in our church. But I knew going into this week that their works of art could not be done justice in our current situation. And so I put that sermon on hold, on pause for the time being. And so we will get back to that series later. But today I knew that this verse that kept running around my head, this was the verse that we needed to talk about today. And so Jesus is in the upper room, and he's there with his disciples, and he says these words. John 16:33 reads it like this. I have told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. Take heart. I have overcome the world. Let me set the setting for you a little bit. There's Jesus in the upper room. He's there with his disciples. They've had the Last Supper together. He's washed their feet. Judas has left to go and betray Jesus. And there they are. He has told them many things. He says, see, I've told you these things. And you kind of begin to wonder, what are these things that he's told them about? Well, if you read back through John 14, 15, and 16, Jesus has shared with his disciples many things. First of all, he said, hey, I am going away. I'm going away. And this distressed his disciples. For the last 3.5 years, all they've known is living and walking and talking and learning from Jesus. And now Jesus says, I'm leaving. And so their world is drastically shaken. Their master, their friend, the one they've loved, the one they've followed. Can you imagine being in that room and then hearing these words? We would be equally as distressed as they are. All of a sudden, their best friend is leaving, and they would never see him again. They were utterly wrecked. This week, we've had some pretty distressing news ourselves, haven't we? We've seen the number of those who have been tested and having a positive test for the coronavirus continue to go up day after day. In the last few weeks, we've had our public schools canceled. We've had restaurants that we love going to close. We've had many of the things that we would consider normal in our life shut down and interrupted. This is pretty distressing news. On top of that, when we go to the store to buy things, sometimes the store has run out because other people have purchased the things that we're looking for. And so this can be very distressful to us. Maybe some of you know someone who is sick. Maybe you know someone who is vulnerable. Maybe they have a weakened immune system, and you're wondering, you're concerned that they too will contract this virus. Maybe it's the financial news. Maybe you don't know if you've got a job to go back to on Monday. Maybe you don't know what this current situation is going to look like for your retirement, for your savings, for your future. And that can be distressing. Maybe there are some of us who are panicked because the stores seem to have a shortage of everything. Maybe because certain things have closed, our world is upside down. But don't worry. The disciples experienced some bad news too. There's Jesus, and Jesus says, hey, I am going away. On top of that, Jesus said, you know what? Not only am I going away, but I'm going to send you a helper. I'm going to send you someone to be there with you. And this was helpful. I'm sure this helped the disciples a little bit. It brightened their spirits. Maybe it lifted them just a little bit, but were they going to be able to see this helper? How were they going to know that this helper was present with them? The good thing is they knew they were not alone. They were not forsaken. They were not being forgotten. But still, it wasn't Jesus. Jesus was someone they could reach out and touch. Jesus was someone they could talk to. They could be there. They knew Jesus, but who was this other helper? It might have helped some, but I'm sure they were still pretty distressed at the time. Then Jesus said, I'm coming back. I am going away, but I'm coming back. And so in the midst of all this, Jesus offers hope. He didn't say when. He didn't say how long he was going to be gone. He did offer hope. said that he was going to prepare a place for us. Jesus said, see, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. Peace. Peace has been something that's probably been in short supply in your house. It's been in short supply in ours as well as our world has been kind of turned upside down. But Jesus said, in me, you can have peace. Interesting thing about that word have, it has this sense of like ownership. Like we can hold on to it like it's ours. And so if you think, man, in my world it's all upside down, all twisted around, you can today own peace. Jesus gives us peace not found in ourselves, not found in our circumstances. He said this peace is found only in me. See, none of what's going on has been a surprise to God. Well, he didn't create it, well, he didn't make it. He was well aware of it coming our way. He said, in me, you can have peace. None of this was a surprise to God. So he gives us his peace so that we do not have to live in fear. That we can live in the peace that he has given us. I've told you these things. I'm going away, that I've given you a helper, that I'm coming again. I've offered hope so that you can have peace in your trouble. He says, I have told you these things so that in me, you may have peace. Peace not as the world gives, peace that comes from me, peace that is everlasting. Because in this world, you will have trouble. Not might have, not could have, not potentially have, but will have trouble. Trouble's going to come our way. Even in the best of circumstances, at some point along the way, that good time may end. At some point, something's going to come our way that's going to throw a wrench in whatever plans we may have. So in me, you will have trouble. Trouble. In this world, you will have trouble. The word trouble means affliction. And for some of us, social distancing is affliction. For those of us extroverts like myself, that we don't necessarily like this separation thing. We want to be with people. I mean, in these days, it's like the aerial high five, right? And it's like the virtual hug. And really, these days, I would take a fist bump from anybody just to notice that we were next to each other, we were near each other. Some of you who maybe are more introverted side, you're like, hey, I can dig this social distancing. I can be around people if I need to in the short spurt, but hey, guess what? I get to go away by myself, lock myself in a room, read a book, watch a movie, whatever it is. Maybe you're thinking this social distancing is not an affliction. Maybe for you, it is the peace of God. Then this world may have affliction. Maybe it's the threat of a job loss. Maybe it's the worry and concern of running out of food, supplies in your home. Maybe you're counting how many days and how many rolls of toilet paper you have. You think, I need to get to the store to get some. What is the affliction that's going on in your house? Maybe you're wondering if every sneeze, every cold, every cough you have, maybe you have this virus. It really may just be allergies. It really may just be a little cold, but these days you just don't know. Maybe for you it's an affliction. Maybe it's caused emotional distress in your life. What's your affliction? What is it that you're dealing with? Maybe it has nothing to do with our current situation. Maybe you have other storms in your life. Maybe there's a relationship that needs to be mended. Maybe there's just trouble that has just been brewing and it just has come to a head. What is that affliction that you are dealing with? And know that in that pain, in that hurt, Jesus said, come to me. Take upon yourself my peace. He says, give to me. Give me your hurt. Give me your affliction. Give me your trouble. And take my peace. And you might be wondering, Mike, how can Jesus promise me his peace? He said, I've said these things to you, so that me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. I love that phrase, take heart. It means courage. And courage is what we need when we come up against our fears, when we come up against that trouble, when we come up against that affliction. We need to take heart. We need to take his courage. Because courage is what's needed to make it through difficult times. How can we have courage? Because He has overcome the world. I love that word overcome. Overcome. It's that victory word. It's that victory word. It's a word of win. And it's not just victory, but it's and if you permit me just a quick moment of geeky grammar, okay? Can you do it for just a second? The word victory, the way Jesus used the word victory in this, it's the present perfect tense. And what that means is it's a past action that's still in reality now. So what that means is that Jesus accomplished our victory in the past. And that victory has not run out. There's no expiration date on that victory. That victory is ours today. And just thought about this. Jesus said this victory is already won, and He's not yet actually fought the full battle. He's not yet actually gone to the cross yet, but this victory He has proclaimed as a reality, as a fixed, finished moment, that this victory is ours, not just for the disciples in the upper room, but for us today who are walking in the footsteps of Jesus. See, we face affliction, difficult times, because of the effects of sin in our world. See, God is not at the cause of our pain. It's the effects of the laws of nature and the brokenness of sin in our world. God could have left us in that state. God could have left us broken and far from Him in a helpless place. But instead, in that moment, while far from Him, He offered us peace. His offer of peace came at the price of the blood of the life of His very Son, Jesus Christ. In a matter of hours, after saying these words, Jesus would be beaten. He'd be stripped naked. He'd be forced to carry the crossbeam of His cross. He'd be crucified for the sins of all men from eternity's beginning to eternity's end. He crucified for us. And that seems like defeat. Death seems like loss. He was crucified. He died. He was buried in a borrowed tomb. Borrowed because He wouldn't be there for long. And in the words of one of the favorite songs we love to sing around here, that then Jesus arose with our victory in hand. He died so that we might live. So maybe today, all you see around you is affliction. Maybe all you see around you is pain. Maybe all you see around you is hurt. And maybe today you could use a little peace. We want to help connect you with that peace. We want to help you find peace in Jesus today. As I said earlier, in the description below, you'll find ways to get a hold of us here at the church. We would love to begin a conversation with you. We would love to begin to help you journey and process through the pain into the peace of Jesus. As I said just a few moments ago, that peace was purchased for us by the death of Jesus on the cross. Each week as we gather, we always take a moment and remember that sacrifice. We remember through a meal that Jesus had shared with His disciples in the upper room, right there before He said these words. They shared this meal together. A meal that all these men had shared with from every year of their life. It was a meal that commemorated their exodus out of Egypt, out of slavery, through the water, in the Red Sea, and into the Promised Land. And Jesus took all those symbols, that entire exodus, and drew those lines to Himself. That He was the Passover lamb that would die. That it was His blood that would be shed and not ours. That it was through His life, that it was through the waters of baptism that we are then led into the Promised Land of peace forever with our God. And so today, as we close this time together, we want to take a moment and remember that same sacrifice. So if you have a piece of bread, if you have a cracker, whatever you might have on hand, if you would take it and break a piece. Jesus said, this is my body, broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. You may take the bread in remembrance of the death of Jesus. He also said, took a cup. And there are many cups of wine that they would drink in the Passover meal. And the final cup is the cup of victory, a cup of celebration. And Jesus said, this juice, this drink is my blood. Not his physical blood, but a remembrance of his blood poured out for us. That we would remember his sacrifice and that we would celebrate in it because of the life that we would have because of his death. If you would, this is the body, the blood of Christ poured out for you. Father, I thank you. Thank you that you poured out your life for us. Thank you that you gave yourself that we might have life forever. Father, we might have peace in our affliction. We might have peace in our hurt. And we might have peace because of you. That, Father, in these hard times, we can trust in you, in your word. That you are good enough. That you are enough for us. Father, help us this week. Father, not to be led by fear, but to live by faith. And to trust in the name of Jesus. It's in his name I pray. We want to thank you for joining us this morning. As I said, join back with us on this channel for more helpful content in the weeks to come. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.